What's going on there, folks? Good afternoon. It is Earthmaster here on the live stream. I'm going to do an update video real quick on the Kīlauea Volcano on the big island of Hawaii. Still kind of active out there. Latest quake here on the Earthquake 3D globe is a 2.5 up here in the Gulf of Alaska. Pretty close to the Gulf there. It looks like just right on land. Seen quite a bit of movement around the West Coast area. Also offshore in Southern California, and a 5.2 earthquake striking down here in this section of the world. But first I want to jump into the Kīlauea Volcano activity. This here is the latest map from the USGS folks here, showing 24 hours of earthquake activity, all magnitudes. And you can still see, this over the last 24, earthquake activity around the southern part of the Kilauea crater area, indicating magma movement at this depth. Well defined. There has not been any update yet. The Kilauea is not erupting, but there's definitely some signs of it showing obvious heightened earthquake activity and volcanic activity. Therefore, the alert level was raised recently from yellow advisory to an orange watch. Looking at, I kind of want to show you guys the webcams here. Kind of watching that last night. Nothing really popped off. I seriously thought for sure that last night was going to be it, that we were going to see an eruption by morning, but that has not taken place yet. There's a couple views of the crater and lava lake. This thing filled up quite a bit last year. Pretty impressive looking, right? No signs of anything happening yet, but you know, it's something to keep an eye on. Here's the overlook of the crater in terms of thermal imaging. Kind of see, of course, the brighter colors indicating more heat. So there's definitely some, you know, I think it's still getting pretty close. We're gonna keep a very close eye on that, and we'll see what it wants to do. There is an interesting scenario about the Hilina slump I kind of mentioned last night. Forgot to include that in the end of the video, as far as like an upload goes, or the coming up next on YouTube video. I will, though, include that at the end of this video, but I just kind of wanted to go into a little bit of info on the Hilina slump. It's on the south flank of the Kīlauea Volcano. Of course, if you look at the Kīlauea Volcano area, you can see that it's pretty extensive, right? In regards to the Hilina slump, there's been talk about potentially maybe it collapsing, landsliding off into the ocean with a massive amount of rocks and land, creating a potential mega tsunami. I did do, like I said, a little bit further update on it last year or the year before. Current movement of the Hilina slump and recent volcanic activity, coupled with evidence of massive submarine slides in the geological past, has led to sensationalist claims of mega tsunamis that might result if the south flank of Kilauea should suddenly fail. Geologists are saying they are confident no such failure is likely, and other experts have stated that the supposed threats of mega tsunamis are, well, exaggerated, right? But that's always being said when I don't know. I kind of don't believe that. There's been a lot of historical evidence, if you will, of failures. This is the article from the Wikipedia page, and there's quite a bit of a wealth of information on here. Not going to go through all of this here, but let's see here. So the states here, the Hilina slump is kind of a little view. We'll check that out here in a second. It's sliding seaward on top of the southern flank of the Kīlauea volcano at an average speed of 4 inches a year. Kīlauea is the southeastern portion, about 13% of the big island of Hawaii, compared to the 25,000 to 35,000 kilometer volume of Kīlauea. The submarine slide is between 10 and 12,000 km, making up about 10% of the island. Model results on the present-day slope and sea level suggests that earthquake acceleration stronger than about this level right here are enough to exceed the static friction coefficient, resulting in a slip along a failure surface. However, recent undersea measurements show that an undersea bench has formed a buttress at the forefront of the Hilina slump, and this may tend to reduce the likelihood of a future catastrophic detachment. But you never know, right? You just never know. Quite a bit of landslides throughout time. Here's about the megatsunamis. Would the collapse of a flank of Hawaiian volcano result in towering waves crashing with the force of countless atomic bombs onto the coastlines of North America and Eastern Asia. Public awareness of and anxiety about so-called megatsunamis was heightened in 2001 when a respected scientific journal published an article by Stephen Ward and Simon Day claiming that this specific volcano in the Canary Islands may experience a catastrophic failure of its west flank. That would drop a large volume, perhaps 500 cubic kilometers of rock into the ocean, and resulting tsunami would hit the African coast with waves as high as 330 feet, while Florida could expect to see a 80-foot high tsunami, although no time frame was given. So it goes on and on, talks about that, and they also mention about the Hawaiian Islands are ringed with debris fans where large portions of the various volcanoes have slid into the sea. Volume of the Hilina slump has been estimated at 10 to 12,000 cubic kilometers. It seems reasonable to consider the risk of volcanic and or seismic activity in Hawaii wreaking havoc around the Pacific Rim. In the word of the report prepared by the U.S. Geological Survey for the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the threat of megatsunamis is once again being blown out of proportion. Lost in much of the popular reporting was that 25-meter waves hitting Florida was only in the worst-case scenario. More modest assumptions. The calculated height was only 3 to 8 meters. You know, we just don't know, right? We don't know until it happens. There's a lot of information on this. What ifs, different scenarios, worst to, you know, very minor. But it's definitely something to keep an eye on with this activity here. You know, looking at this movement, general movement, global positioning stations on the south flank of Kīlauea definitely show quite a bit of movement towards the sea, while other areas are up here to the north, going away from it. But just kind of, we'll keep an eye on it. You know, we'll definitely keep an eye on what's going on here in Hawaii. I do think that it will potentially get back to the eruption phase here pretty soon. We are looking at some earthquake activity around the Hilina flank here, Hilina slump. Some movement. What do we got here as far as seismic activity? Some pretty deeper movement, 7 kilometers for a couple of these microquakes in that area. Also a little bit further north, you can see this line of activity indicating that area. This area down here is typical of deep earthquake movement. We see this all the time. But definitely noteworthy to watch all this activity here along the Hilina slump and the magma that's going up here into the Kīlauea volcano. Other areas of Big Island not super active at the moment. Mauna Loa looking pretty quiet. Of course, they had that earthquake swarm And when was it? A few months ago now, kind of in this area. That has since all but died down completely almost. Little earthquake, 7.9 kilometers, 2.6, a few miles south of the Mauna Loa crater area. But man, Hawaii is a definite hotspot of volcanic activity for sure. I think we're just kind of getting into the it in our time frame. I think it could be pretty active very soon, more so active than what it's doing right now. Let's go ahead and check out the rest of the states here real quick. Looking at the West Coast region, we did see some activity off the coast of California, kind of like I mentioned there, near the Santa Cruz Islands. A 2.6 at 19 kilometers. That's pretty deep. Some rather deep movement off the coast of Southern California. Inland, some further deep earthquake activity. Nothing really major. We're seeing a little bit of swarming continuing around the Salton Sea area near an island, it looks like. I was down there a few months ago. Just a couple small microquakes kicking off over the last 24, and the San Jacinto Fault area showing some further movement today. Ridgecrest, Antelope Valley up here, Long Valley Supervolcano, and Nevada all looking typical for aftershock activity over the last 24. We're seeing a return of some movement up here, some deep movement near Petrolia, the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone, 22 kilometers for this 2.1. Kind of been watching this area quite closely. Also some movement up here outside of Redding, California, Bella Vista, and Almanor, California. This is up here near where the fire is well past there now. It's up in the Lassen area and moving, scattered all about up here in the forest. But some deep movement taking place in the Northern California, kind of at the southern end of the Cascadia. So I'm guessing tonight we'll see a probably a more sizable increase in tremor that's been taking place today. They don't update their map until the about 6:30 my time. This is from yesterday. A little bit of movement near Seattle, creating some deeper earthquakes up there. But we'll check back a little bit later tonight on that tremor for this area. Up here around the Washington region, some further movement around Mount St. Helens, and also just northeast of Seattle, kind of up there in the mountain ranges. Some small microquakes. Yellowstone National Park. Let's go ahead and check that out real quick on the Yellowstone seismographs here. Not a whole lot going on. Just looks like your typical beautiful day up in northwest Wyoming, right? I don't see any significant change. 25. Well, yeah, there's not a whole lot going on there, folks. Pretty quiet. Alrighty. Let's see, what else do we have to cover? Nothing going on really on the East Coast. Check the all magnitudes here. Been watching some movement around the New Madrid fault system, no doubt. I'm kind of keeping an eye on that. Another area of heightened earthquake activity and large earthquakes potential. Tennessee, a little bit of movement. What do we got there? Shelbyville, 13 kilometers for that 2.3. Relatively deep movement in that area. The New Madrid fault system seen a 1.6 near Tiptonville at 9.2 kilometers below the surface, and Pecos, Texas, getting in on quite a bit of earthquake activity today. Excuse me, in that area. What do we got? As far as Japan goes, a little bit of further movement off here as well. Man, wouldn't you know it? I just happened to get hiccups. It's so odd. Right in the middle of my update. Watching this region here very closely as well. Seen some deep movement into the Kermadec Trench. Seen a 5.4 followed up by a couple 4s. That's very deep right there. 419 kilometers for that 4.2. Got to keep an eye on this area as well. Whole lot of movement taking place around the Pacific Plate, with an increase in earthquake activity in the deeper regions of the Peru-Chile Trench as well, and an uptick in aftershock sequences around the South Sandwich Islands area. Most of the activity over the last couple days has been confined to the southern end of the trench, South Sandwich Trench, that is. But seeing a little bit of further buildup and movement up here to the north, and I wouldn't doubt it. We start seeing, or potentially maybe seeing upper 6 again in this area. Just been awfully quiet over the last couple days with buildup of strain. So we will keep an eye on that today as well. All right, folks, stay safe out there. Be prepared. Something definitely brewing out here. Something is definitely brewing. There was a 5.2, right? We didn't cover that on the earthquake 3D globe. That was, let's see exactly where that was at. It looks a little bit further inland on this map than it does on the globe. 5.2 near Honduras. 8.9 kilometers. Looks like, not for sure what the population density is out there, but kind of in a regional area with some historical earthquake activity around the border of Guatemala and Honduras. But yeah, wow. Alrighty, folks, have a good day, stay safe, and I'm gonna get something to eat. I'm kind of hungry. Just kind of just hanging out, enjoying this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Have a good day, folks. We'll chat you a little bit later.